Hey YouTube, this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. So, little recap. I had an experience where I was left in this bell tower by my parents. I definitely was afraid because of the other experiences that I have had, with or without them, where it's a similar event with that part of my consciousness and body being manipulated to fit somebody else's internal will, and then it eventually comes true here in this physical. How? I don't fully have that answer, but it does. And that's definitely why I was a part of the reason why I was hesitant to go on this trip with my father. Something that I realized that day when I was, breaking down, when I was just in tears at the Desert Museum, was I've heard so much about our connection to the sun and how connected we are to the sun. And that day when I was just bawling, it was super duper cloudy and the clouds were thick. But once I made the decision to open up to my dad, and all these tears started flowing down and from my eyes, something interesting that happened was the sun then came out. For the entire time that I was sitting on the bench with my father, when I started just snot coming down, it was an ugly cry. And the sun stayed out the entire time I was choosing to invite him in, up until we were in the vehicle a good minute outside of the parking lot. So I thought that was interesting, just because, we are connected to the sun. But I definitely didn't think that would be something that would happen or occur. But it did. I found it interesting, and since it was a part of this whole situation, I thought I would share. But going back to the whole event, I went on that trip thinking I was going to be separated from them. That did not happen. So many other things happened that just were not right, and were letting my antennas know something is off. That whole syrup being used on the ice cream, yet there's no mention of it in the damn menu. Why does mine have syrup and his doesn't? And then all of a sudden my body temperature is fluctuating like I'm on fire, and I can't cool myself down no matter what I do. And it just feels as if someone from outside of my body, wherever the hell they are, were hitting a switch. Because it wasn't happening after a long day of me being out in the sun, the times that it happened again. It was just random. I take care of my body. I eat right, similarly to how I was eating the day before, sticking to a routine, drinking enough water, getting a good amount of rest, and then boom. This is how my body has shifted after the trip. I came back and there was a clear shift in my body. My tempo was messed with. So I definitely felt upset and frustrated. But at the end of the day, I chose to go. And I believe, because of how it went down so swiftly, that had it not gone down that way in that specific instance, it would have happened in a completely different situation for me. What happened was meant to happen. Those who are the oppressors wanted that to happen to my body, and it happened. If it would not have happened there, I believe it would have happened somewhere else. And doing something to the food is so easy, you know? It's just a shame that it was on this trip where I was hoping to bond with my father. But, that didn't happen. And I'm grateful that I invited him and my mother into the experience that I had, and my brother, with this bell tower moment, and just all that I was thinking and feeling. You know, I came back to Colorado and I smelled the marijuana a couple times. I used to think it was external, and it really affected me because I was trying to get a different job, and I was really worried about drug tests and, you know, am I smelling this marijuana because marijuana's in my blood? Is that what's going on when my body temperature is fluctuating and it's sweating it out? What's going on? I did not know. And I just was, you know, in more fear when it would pop up and I'd be driving. You know, did it affect my eyes? Are my eyes now more red? If I get pulled over and the officer smells something, how is that potentially going to be weaponized against me? And fortunately, nothing happened. I just got it in my head, and I kept saying in my head, you know, if something's going to happen, let it happen. And I'll cross that bridge if it comes. And it didn't. And then I did stay in the other video. I smelt it in January, February, but not once in March. If it happened, because it's not like I'm doing it, this is like something, it feels like somebody is flipping a switch, and then I smell it. But I don't recall smelling anything in March. April, most definitely. And I think it's also because I left the job that I was working end of March, and I have not gotten hired somewhere else. I also haven't, you know, deeply looked into jobs. I was hoping to get hired at this one place, and I haven't. So I've just been meditating as much as I can on the days when it's been sunny, and doing yoga on those days. And, you know, that first week after not working, I just gave my body the rest that it needed. Getting back to the recap, I do believe my body was definitely messed with, 100%. And there are days where I smell it briefly, and there are other days when I don't. I now know after this month that it's internal, and it's coming from like this area, so my pineal gland, and going down into my sensors in my nasal area. And I believe this happened to me because, you know, the Kundalini energy is rising, and I told my parents that, and there's no reason to stress about the banks because the banks are closing, or to stress about money because the banks are closing. And that's all happening because the Kundalini energy is rising on the planet and in the divine species. That's all I said. And then my mom followed it up with shortly after, you know, how I'm really scaring her. Why does me telling you that we're moving to a time where no one ever has to worry about paying a bill ever again, and us living in peace, scaring you? Why are you scared? I'm confused. So she said that, and then I had the experience of, you know, if Ryan is sick, he needs to be removed and hospitalized for 3 weeks. Then I had that little experience with my consciousness in the astral realm where my parents deserted me, and then the trip to Arizona where my body definitely was messed with and has not reverted back to what was the normal stasis. So because they work with the 3 and the 6 and the 9, you know, with all these different experiences, that happened in January with the experience with my parents. So I don't know if something's going to happen this month before the end, or in May, where I somehow get hospitalized. And after this experience, you know, I went to see a house the other day, and someone made a comment randomly about, oh, you don't seem like the type of guy to have a breakdown in the middle of the night and, you know, break all the windows and stuff and, you know, get carried away. It was something along those lines. And it's just like that just really rang weird in my ear, and paying attention to those numbers again. So I'm now bringing this up because my best friend in the East Coast started seeing through the veil in 2022, didn't know what was going on. Like, all of our bodies, our conscious bodies, these spirit bodies, I believe, returned to us. And it was heightened for some people and a little more reduced for others. But for her, it was more heightened, and she didn't know what was going on, and those around her definitely did and do. And I don't know how exactly it went down, but she was then hospitalized and diagnosed with schizophrenia. So, of course, now she's not sharing what she's experiencing and seeing, which is all true. And if she does, those that are around her now have more of a reason, not to believe her. If they are, their beliefs are strong within this matrix. Me personally, it's those people who get up and removed from society. If you're put in a hospital, mental institution, or if you're put in jail, if you're put in a different kind of hospital because you randomly get ill, I'm looking at everything that you said prior to you ending in that circumstance, because something happened, these occurrences just don't happen out of nowhere. And yeah, I definitely have been thinking about that, because I do believe in my soul after watching the video of how the 400 years of captivity comes to an end during the fall of 2024, and the 7 veils, 7 trumpets, 7 seals of Yahweh's wrath will be complete during that time. I believe this is speaking about our chakras, and by that point we're going to be a more united world, a more united community. We are going to see each other more as family, and by we I mean all of the Anunnaki goddesses and gods. So before that happens, we're going to reach our throat chakra and then our third eyes. Once we reach our third eyes, it's over. There's going to be no determining and debating what's real, what's fake, if these beings exist or not. We're all going to be seeing them here in the physical once this third eye is open, and in the astrals. But before that, we're at the throat chakra. So they still have some time, depending on the people, to say, hey, they're crazy or they're crazy, and this is why you shouldn't believe anything that they're saying, when it's the opposite. So I have no idea how it's going to go down. I'm also just going to make in this video, because I said in one of the previous ones, I think, but my father, as of the end of last summer, beginning of the fall, it was revealed to me in the astrals that he is a Rothschild. He is a part of one of these 13 families, one of these ruling bloodlines. So adding that and knowing that prior to going on this trip, and then having the experiences that I've had with him in the astrals, night and day, of him being supportive in the way that he has been in the physical, versus me seeing a completely different side, and how I'm being treated in the astrals, definitely added to my hesitation to going on the trip. And then me asking him, did you know, like, if mine had syrup or not? And he, kind of evaded the question, to all of this happening. And now me thinking back to when I was a kid, what the hell happened to me when out of nowhere I fall ill and I'm seizing and my body temperature is doing the exact same thing. The only difference now in my adult life is I'm feeling this sensation where my pineal gland is, and the smell of marijuana is coming down into my senses, into my nasal area. And I think that might be because all of our pineal glands are going to open, and maybe, I hope not, but maybe with what was done, there also, whatever was done, and why I'm feeling that here, is to make my process of when my pineal gland opens, what would have been a little more organic, now just a little more delayed, is what they're hoping. I don't know. I don't have the full answer, but I'm throwing that in there just to document and honestly share what I'm going through as somebody who is just going through all of these things, who also is a carbonated Anunnaki and who never questioned his parents because of the wonderful life that I had, because of all that they provided for me, because of all the love that they gave me. And then Spirit showed me a different side at the very end of the summer. And then me seeing them in the astrals messing with me during the fall. And night and day differences, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So because of all of that, and me being treated the way that I've been treated when I say nothing, me being treated the way I've been treated when I share something, and then if I choose to say nothing but I choose to do yoga, or if I choose to rest, it feels like, because we are where we are within this energy cycle, no matter what, there needs to be some type of attempt to get me to drop in frequency one day, because they just need more negative energy. So I'm thinking, share the truth. I feel I'm to the point where I just feel a need to share the truth. And if anyone comes across this and relates because of who they were adopted by and the stuff you are experiencing behind closed doors, I see you. I empathize with you. You do not deserve the treatment that you are going through. And this corruption that you are experiencing in this matrix is coming to an end. So hold on to the fact that freedom is coming. And I think today is the last day that collectively we will ever be this disconnected. And the farther along it gets, today is the last day that we will all collectively be this quiet. So hold on to that as well, If one of us, the baton drops or gets taken away at full face, someone else is going to pick it up. That's just how we designed it before coming down. Alright, this video is now 17 minutes. I was hoping it was going to be more like 11, but that is not the case. So for those that have watched this video, thank you for watching, and I plan on making more, weekly. But if I don't, and if I end up in the hospital, whether it's diagnosed with some mental illness or for some other just type of illness because I'm struggling to walk, I'm making the documentation because Spirit told me, and I saw what happened to my friend who started seeing me on the bail and how they treated her. And just with how everything is played out, I feel there's a reason why I have remembered each of those experiences and how they've impacted each of these moments. So hopefully nothing happens and I just make more videos all the way through August, but if something does, I'll eventually get back on and let y'all know. And if I don't, there's a reason why. So until then, everyone take care. Have a great night. And I want to send peace, courage, protection, and divine cosmic love to every single 9-ether being who's on their journey of remembering their divinity and remembering who they are. Peace to the gods and goddesses.